Alrighty, what is going on, ladies and gents? Welcome back to the channel for another market update. Hope everybody had a lovely day. And with that being said, let's dive into the TA. All right, guys, we did close out with a daily hammer candlestick today on SPY and QQQ. We pulled back to the daily 9 EMAs. We found buyers off of those, and we ended up closing up near the highs. Not exactly at the highs, but we did print this nice lower wick here on SPY's daily candle as well as QQQ's. I don't think this is what a market looks like before it sells. I think this is what a market looks like before it rallies. I think that is what comes next. I've been very vocal about that, and I now think that is happening. I was vocal about it on all of these dips that we got for 2 straight months here. All right, the market did not want to sell. Market wants to get bought up. Once we got this move right here, we got confirmation that these were buying opportunities over here because the market wanted to move up. It just showed us this, okay? And once we made the new highs, we knew that these dips were likely just going to be buying opportunities because we didn't go through all this crap for no reason. So we knew to buy these dips. And now, guys, we're in the next phase, all right? We're in the next phase where we know for a fact all of these were buying opportunities, which means we're just getting this breakout. This next leg can start up now. All right. Over here, listen, guys, a little sketch to be buying these dips over here with full size, okay? But then you got this over here, and then you knew these were extremely likely going to be bought up to new all-time highs. We're now at the new all-time highs, and we have 2 months of consolidation here coming to an end that is probably going to lead to an explosive move to the upside. Weekly chart. I don't care what you want to say, how you want to look at this thing. This thing is not bearish. It's about a run. All right. Daily hammer on the day. Resistance is 610.78, 613.23, and then you're watching the 615 psychological level above there, 620 incoming. I do think 620 to 630 is incoming in the short term. I know. I'm fucking nuts. I know. It's okay. It's okay to be a little crazy. On the downside is support, 608.15. That's where you found buyers today. That's a big spot right there. You actually see it clearly on the hourly time frame. Let's just take that off right there. All right. You can see that was a level from all the way back over there, and it continued giving us these reactions up until today. It still is giving those reactions. We're going to keep watching it. Underneath 608.15, strong level there. Underneath there, watching 605.36. That is the second spot you need buyers to step in. If they don't step in, that's when you have risk. All right. But when you're sitting here, slightly down, all right, let's look at it this way. Like, I really don't understand, psychology. You want to pick on anyone, but you just saw a $15 move to the upside and people are panicking over a $6 retracement. What goes through people's minds? Over time, you're just going to get experience in the market and hey, these days are not days to freaking panic. You're going to have such a bad time in the market. It's going to be psychological warfare constantly if you're sitting there panicking on these. All right. $15 move up, $6 move down. Very clearly got a bigger move up. Weekly chart has been in consolidation for 2 months. You just got your breakout. Do not be bearish on the dips. They're not going to be lasting long. QQQ support 536.22. 533.82, and underneath there you're watching 532.75. You do not want to give up 532.75. I am just going to do us a favor, take off the clutter. We're going to mark today's low 532.46. Lose 532.46, you got a problem. All right, you got a problem. Yes, we got a big level right here at 531.24. We got our reactions going on there, but you don't want to lose what you bought back today. All right. You want these buyers not to go in the red. If these buyers get in the red, you're probably going to, sell down a little bit more. Why? Because they're in the red. They're taking their loss. That shoves prices down. You don't want that to happen. All right? You want to consolidate here, or you want to start pushing up from here. It's one or the other. If you want to be bullish right here, that's what you're looking for. All right? I can't tell you if things are just going to skyrocket up to new highs tomorrow, 540.81. I can't tell you that because I don't know. What I do know is that we have 2 likely scenarios here, one in which we consolidate here for a few days and then we push up, all right? And the other which we just start pushing up, all right? I have no idea what's going to happen, but don't expect this market to be sold. You got no reason to. The support, 536.22, 533.82, 532.46. Don't lose there or bad things happen. We're not going to go any further than that. On the upside is resistance, 539.15 and 540.81. Again, hammer candlestick. Like, we got 3 back-to-back lower wicks here. Market wants to be bought. We knew the market wanted to be bought. We're now at new highs, and the market still wants to be bought at new highs. What are people not getting about this? IWM, how are we looking over here? Like a piece of dog crap. Don't touch IWM right now. There's no reason to. You have a much better look over there on SPY and QQQ. Big tech looks phenomenal, in my personal opinion. Support over here, IWM, 221.79 and 220.23. Of all the indices today, saw straight bearish bets being taken over here on IWM. We're not on the other ones, but they were over here. I don't know why, but I'll tell you right now, this chart looks like a piece of crap. There's no reason to touch this thing. Look at that. You don't want to touch that. It's not trending right now. It's not even in nice consolidation like we've had over here on QQ. Like, we knew this was bullish consolidation considering the bullish structure. IWM looks like a piece of crap. Don't touch it right now. Resistance, 224.66, 226.64, 228.04. Support, 221.79, 220.23. Don't want to lose under there. From there, you're just going to be watching this golden pocket. All right. 217.50. Don't want to lose there. PIA. Oh, you had me in the first half. You started breaking down for this pennant. All right. I'm going to be completely honest. This surprised me this morning. I was like, this thing looks beautiful. This thing's about to go. It did not. It did the exact opposite. But, you know, nonetheless, guys, we know how SPY and QQ are looking right now. This thing just moved so close to all-time highs and didn't break that all-time high that it makes it extremely obvious that this is going to be a buying opportunity for move to a new high. Again, I don't know how people read these charts if they're coming to these bearish conclusions to see on Twitter. I got absolutely no idea why people, you know, remain bearish on dips. And then after you get a big pump and then the market starts pulling back slightly, you start getting bearish again. I will never understand it. And I will continuously unfollow people who have these crap biases. It is what it is. Coming over here to the MAGS ETF, guys. This remains in bullish consolidation, just getting ready to break above this trend line. You break above that trend line, get a break above 55.83. That is when this thing's probably going to start going nuts. That's when the MAG 7 stocks are going to start going crazy. VIX started catching a bid off of the lower trend line over here. Now, if you remember from a few days ago, it was right over here. All right, coming into this week, I was looking for buyers to give you a bounce over here, and then I was looking for it to be sold. I didn't think you were going to get all the way up here, but I'm going to be completely honest. All right? It's not really too different than what we talked about. You're staying elevated for a little longer here, but nothing changed. I still think you're coming down here to 14.27 in the short term after this, you know, little pop gets sold here. All right? And that is going to, you know, align with indices going higher. All right, VIX moves opposite to SPX, S&P 500. If this thing moves down, market moves up. This thing is not looking bullish. It is still selling every single pop here. And now you're just consolidating underneath the short-term moving averages. What happens when you consolidate above the short-term moving averages? You get a spike. What happens when you consolidate underneath them? Just like this, you get a dump. It's probably coming. And I will again flash the MAGS ETF. This thing, combined with QQQ, should give you all the reason you need to be bullish on the market. There you go. Nvidia, the king over here, is not looking too bad. You got 3 days of range going on over here. Back to back to back. Well, back to back inside days over there. Consolidating above the short-term daily moving averages in the golden pocket. Honestly, this looks like it's getting ready for a pop. You have the trend line as well you can pay attention to. Get above 141.90. All right. Second time's the charm. Second time you get above there, you're probably going to start pushing. All right. You really want to confirm? Get above 143.44. I mean, technically, you want confirmation that you're probably coming up here. Get above 144.50. That is the 0.786 fib. That tells you 100% retracement is likely. Never tells you that price is just going to go straight up, but it does tell you if you get this scenario right here where you get a pop, all right, and you get that pullback, it tells you that pullback is likely a buying opportunity, all right? So that's the video over here. It's going higher. Tesla, consolidating over here around the daily 9. It's not necessarily just rejecting it. That's something it's not too bad. You got the daily RSI being oversold. It bounced back off your support over here. You didn't quite hit the golden pocket. It was the most recent rally here, but you got pretty darn close. I do think that the bottom is either in or downside is limited. Over here at 320, I was originally thinking 320 to 340. All right, we started getting our bounce. Actually, originally, you know, full transparency, I was thinking 360 to 380 when we were somewhere up here, and I was like, oh, it's sniped the bottom. All right, yeah, it's sniped, but I was like, oh, it's great when things turn out perfect, and then the thing just fades, and you're like, oh, it wasn't so perfect, right? I've been waiting for this move to come for quite some time now. I do think we are right, we're right around the corner from that taking place. We got the weekly hammer / pin bar candlestick off the 21 EMA last week on the weekly time frame here. This week we're just consolidating. You know, that's not something that's bearish. You're holding the gains that you got last week. Buyers bought the dip and you are holding them. You're not finding sellers here. Like, you are finding sellers here, but you're not finding more sellers than buyers here, and that's what's bullish to me. All right, I'm not going to say it's a crazy looking chart yet. I'm going to say you got to get above 384.29. That's a big spot. Get above there, things probably start, you know, getting better. You probably start getting a little vertical action. We'll see what happens. But, you know, point is, it's not looking bad. Amazon has not bounced the whole freaking time. It's not bounced. All right, it has not bounced this whole time. You either get the 4-hour RSI bouncing back from here, or it comes into oversold territory, and it's very short-lived over there. If you see the 4-hour RSI in oversold territory, expect it to be bought. You have about 2 years of price being bought up every time the 4-hour RSI hit oversold territory, and until things change, do not expect them to be different. All right? Expect buyers to step in on this time. You come down here, you expect buyers. All right. See that alert get hit, you expect buyers to step in. It doesn't even matter if you lose the 0.786 fib right here. Downside is limited on Amazon. I don't know exactly when buyers are going to step in. I don't know if tomorrow you're going to skyrocket. I have no idea. I could tell you this, though. You got to get above 229.14 for this daily chart to really start turning around. At that point, you'll be above the short-term moving averages, and then you could start seeing it turn around. I would not be surprised to see this play out, something like that. All right, I do think you're very close to the bottom right here. You see the daily RSI is getting down there. Like that right now is already at 40.70. And then the 4-hour RSI, every single time for 2 years, you either bounce back from right down here in oversold territory, it's right around where you are right now. It's one or the other. I'm guessing you're going to continue a little lower with how this is looking. Goog. Continuing to base above 183.79 support. That was a breakout level over here. You got reaction. It's a solid level to go off of. Come over here, the 4-hour time frame. Your RSI was just about oversold over here. That is where they started stepping in last time. And then we can see on the daily RSI, it's in the same spot that buyers stepped in last time and gave you one heck of a bounce. I'm not saying you get one heck of a bounce again. I'm not. All right, because you got to go through this period right here where you got to get above the daily moving averages here, because right now you're going to be buying here, you're going to be selling here. All right, 190.34 to 193.31. That's where you're looking to sell if you're a buyer down here, okay? But if price manages to get above, you look for it to confirm, retest the short-term moving average, something like that. All right, and then from there, you probably start a larger bounce. I can't tell you this second part right here, this larger bounce, happens until I see it happening. I can't tell you. I'm sorry. But right now, I could tell you it's very obvious that price wants to test 190.34 to 193.31. Coming over here to Microsoft. Rejected the daily 21 EMA today. I want to see price get above it over the coming few trading sessions. Weekly candle, I like how this is shaping up. I don't think this is just going to be, you know, a one-hit wonder over here. I think you're probably going to put in a green weekly hammer candlestick, followed by a second green, did I just say hammer candlestick? I'm talking too much about hammers today. I think it would be followed by a second green candlestick. Sorry, I said hammer before. I did not mean to. But yeah, you could see you're coming into a big spot here on the daily time frame. 420.69 is the big spot. Get over there. Probably have a straight shot to 427.55, and then you test 432, which is your 0.618 fib. You can see it's a big spot right here as well. On the weekly time frame, you have the short-term moving averages right here. Price likes to dance around that, but once you get above, you get these impulsive moves. I think that is coming over here. And you know, just going to talk about this. This thing has been ranging out for a long time. At some point, we're going to get a big move up. I thought it was going to happen over here when this broke. I really did think it was coming, new all-time highs. It didn't end up coming. At some point, this is going to come. I don't think we're just putting it on top here. I think this market has a lot more juice. I think Microsoft, when it starts going, we're going to be, you know, I'm not going to say end game of this rally, but I think that's when we have a larger rally that's going to be upon us. A lot of things just haven't really been moving. All right. Microsoft is one of them. Google is another that really hasn't moved all that much. Tesla has not moved at all for quite some time. What happens when these things start moving? Microsoft really hasn't moved for quite some time. It's been years. Well, not years. It's been a year. It's done absolutely nothing. At some point, this is going to break out. But until then, guys, play that range, and I'll keep walking you through it. Your buyers at the bottom, and you're looking for the reversion to the mean, which is around 430 over there on Microsoft. Until the range breaks, you keep playing it. Over here on Meta, all right, Meta is finally pulling back over here. Daily RSI pulling back off the same spot we've gotten pullbacks the past few times. All right, over here, the pullback was bought. You had a 6% pullback, $30 over here, and then over the following month, you had a 15% move to the upside. What happened over here? Again, you pulled back. It was just about 6%, and then you got bought. What are we at right now? We're just about at 6%, and you're at the 21 EMA here on the daily time frame. I'm not saying it's going to be exactly like it because history doesn't repeat itself, but history does like to rhyme. And until it stops rhyming, we're going to expect it to rhyme. Expect buyers start stepping in around here over here on Meta. Come over the hourly RSI, you're approaching oversold territory. Typically, when we see the divergence start building out over here, that's when we have a biggish bounce right around the corner. I say biggish because I'm not saying this thing is just going to pop back up to the highs here. We're probably going to start building out that range that I talked about before this thing really started pulling back. I talked about it before we even moved up to 740. I said we were looking for that. But at some point, this thing is going to pull back after this big move. And it's going to do exactly what it did over here. It's going to do what it did over here. It could even do what it did over here. This was a massive move up here. All right. Things are getting expensive. At some point, you start that. And that could happen right over here. And you could build out this range. All right, you could do this and drive everyone nuts. And we're here for it. That's Meta. What do we got cooking over here in Apple? I'm just going to remind everyone, weekly candlestick last week was crazy. Barely got any movement this week. It's just consolidating. Literally just going sideways. I know, sideways and slightly up. But it's consolidating. After that big move, the daily 9 is catching up to price. Over 247.33, you watch 251.50, above 251.50, 260.10. I do think once 247.33 breaks, we have started to move to 260.10. Weekly chart speaks for itself here. It really does. It looks pretty darn stinking good. Coming over here to the chip stocks. We already covered the King Nvidia there. I do think things are not looking too bad. And you know, I didn't cover the weekly chart over here on Nvidia, but does this look like something that's just about to sell to you? I mean, it could pull back, but are you really going to get really bearish on that? No, you're above the weekly moving averages now. You got buyers there. You got buyers here. Now you're probably going to get buyers here. Sorry, I got the stupid magnet on it. Makes it a little hard to get in there with my arrow. All right, but over here, you got the buyers at, like, you know, you're above these things, you pull back to them, expect buyers at them. You're above these things, pull back to them, expect buyers on them. Well, now you're above them. It's not something to be bearish on. SMH, still, guys, expect to come up to the top of the range. I told you. You had the false breakdown. Typically, that comes, and then we go to the opposing side of the range. Just like we did over here. All right, just like we did over here. You came to the, like, you know, it happens on all of these. You had this resistance right here. You couldn't break it. You swept it. All right, you came right up to it, and you came to the bottom of the range. And then you couldn't break there. So then what happens? Okay, I know you took some time, but then you went to the top of the range. You couldn't break it. What happened? You still came towards the bottom of the range, and then you did it again. All right, and you couldn't break it. You came to the bottom. We're probably about to break above 260.26. I don't know if you get the weekly close above it or not. We got to wait and see. But if it does, things can get pretty crazy. And this is what I'm saying. Like charts like Microsoft, like that's SMH over here. The chips led the way on this rally and then really did nothing for quite some time now. You've done absolutely nothing here for 2/3 of a year over here on the chip sector. Like, I'm not saying nothing because look at AVGO. Look at Nvidia. All right. You haven't really moved up, but you've kind of moved up. All right. You had this little advance, and now you're in a new range here. Okay. False breakdown. There you go. But in the grand scheme of things, this covers all the chips. And yeah, it has traded flat. At some point, that's going to resolve itself. We got to wait for it. Like, there's things like ARM that were leaders along the original run. And now they've done nothing. At some point, these things are going to run. I'm telling you guys. But coming over here to AVGO, you're still in this range, guys. You're still in this freaking range. You closed right on 226.80. It's the bottom of the range. You're finding buyers off it 3 days in a row here. You've been holding it. I think you're going to continue holding it. If you don't, and you get the daily close underneath 226.80, I know you're at 226.74. I see it. But it's right on the bottom of it. We're not going to call that a breakdown. We could see that the wicks we got going on right here, guys. You don't got to be perfect about things. You don't got to be mechanical. Eventually, you'll... It's just into the intuitive trading. Is that what it is? Eventually, you'll just develop that sixth sense. You don't got to be perfect on all these things. You don't got to be mechanical. All right. And right here on AVGO, guys, I'm telling you, you got a weekly chart here that found buyers off the 21 EMA. You're now back above the weekly 9 here. You know, this thing wants to be bought here on the weekly time frame. You come over to the daily. You've been consolidating this range that's $11. At some point, this thing, you know, is going to break out. And, you know, honestly, since we're here, assume the next move is going to be a test of the top of the range. And then we get to see if we finally break out. But you're not breaking down from it right now. So I assume this is going to be a false breakdown and you test the top over here at 237.93. And then we see if we can finally start the move to 251.81. We'll see. We will see. But if not, guys, worst case scenario, you're going to get the measure move down, which is $11. That brings you somewhere over here around 214, 215. And then I would assume you're going to test 211.11 support and bounce back to the range from there. And this is that next move you could play. Okay? Either way, we got ways to make money here on this AVGO chart. Both are bullish. ARM. I just flashed this chart at some point this is going to start really moving over here. We're going to have, I know you broke down under this one. But now you have this one to pay attention to. Whenever that top trend line breaks, that's when this thing is probably going to start its next move. You have a touch point, touch point, touch point. At some point, that's going to break above 164.16. That's when this thing really starts looking good here. You can see here on the weekly time frame. All right. This is the level here that you have not been able to get this weekly close above. I want to see the weekly close above that. And until then, you know, you're expecting buyers here on these dips. All right, you're coming back into the weekly 21 EMA here. That's where buyers stepped in last time. But I'm not going to say you should be expecting anything crazy. You shouldn't. All right, at some point, it's going to come. It's not there right now. It's not ready yet. Nvidia want to sell half their stake and like derail the momentum that came in from this candle over here. Yeah, I don't know what to say about it. It is what it is. SMCI, guys. Yeah, I know. It's crazy. We got this guy up here again. Coming into a big weekly trend line. Look at that volume, guys. Holy freaking cow. Crazy move you've had so far. I'm pretty positive I called it out down here. I told everyone that they shouldn't touch this thing. I said there's no reason to really trade this thing when I give you guys so many other traders. So my apologies. All right. And then touched on it somewhere over here. And I said, I also don't think it's a good idea. And then we touched on in the last video. Now, I wasn't here yesterday. My girlfriend actually was going away for a few weeks, so we had the day to ourselves. And yeah, I was very tired from all the driving and stuff like that for airports. And yeah, there was a pain in the butt. I was like, you know what? We're not going to record a video tonight. We'll hit him with it tomorrow night. All right. But whenever the last video was, guys, I said I don't think it's worth really chasing this guy. And I still kind of think that. All right. I'm sorry in advance if you miss out on some crazy squeeze action, but guys, premiums are so juiced that if you're not playing short-term options expirations, you're not making a lot of money anyway. Like the upside is minuscule. I'll gladly feed you plays like this all flipping day, where premiums move nice for us. Nice. I pitched this one to you guys before earnings came. All right. And the plan was to buy off the open. I didn't think you were going to get a gap up like that, though. So I didn't even buy that. But the plan was to buy off the open on earnings and play that. But I did give you guys 100% gain over here on the March calls. All right. And right here, guys, Now, I want to say we're running it back. We're not. We're running it for the first time. Okay. You had buyers start stepping in yesterday. You're getting confirmation that they're stepping in today. I want to see confirmation that the bottom is in here. The short-term low is in this move down. All right. By getting back above 305.63. That was the bottom of this little range you got going here. If you can get acceptance into that, you're probably going to push the top of that previous range at 311.59. Above there, 317.90 incoming. If you can catch a bid tomorrow and close, I mean, either way, if you just hold what you did today, this thing looks sexy heading into the following few weeks. I really like it. I like March 21st calls here. I like April 17 calls here. All right. On a $10 move, April calls go 100 to 120%. On a $5 move, March calls go 70 to 100%. You're welcome. All right. You're welcome. The move is about to start. I told you well in advance that this was the setup that I was paying attention to. And now it's here. I'm sorry I skipped ahead. I got excited about this guy. This is the next big boy right here. Let's continue on with the chip stocks. My apologies. AMD, I still don't think there's a reason to really, touch this thing over here until it can break above the daily 9 and then come back to confirm it. I'm not talking about some weak crap like that. I want to see a move like that, explosive, pull back into it, find buyers off it. MU, what do you got cooking over here, guys? A whole lot of nothing. Your support is 178, resistance 106.74. Above 106.74, you have 112. All right. I don't even know where this line came from. I'm going to be completely honest. When was I using a green line? And why can't I move it? I don't know what kind of tool that is. That's not my normal trend line, though. I don't know what it is. All right. At some point, this thing's going to break. For now, play the range. That's pretty much it. TSM. I'll reiterate what I said in the last video, guys. This has been bought at the 21 EMA here in the weekly time frame for a very long time now. Is probably going to continue being bought here. It's been bought here for the last month. All right. I expect this time not to be different. Expect the buyers to come in. So that's that. Bitcoin, you're making moves today. Let's see if you can close out with a nice weekly candlestick here come Sunday. Reclaiming the daily short-term moving average over here. Let's see if you can get a daily close above 97.750, 97.7K there. You're at 98.2K right now. And if you can get the daily close above here, I do assume you're going to push up to the next level at 100, 185. You know what? When I'm talking about Bitcoin now, I'm not going to say 100K. I'm not going to say K or anything like that. I'm not going to say 1,000. I'm going to literally read the freaking numbers because I hate reading charts that have this many numbers. It just sounds awful, all right? Get above 97750. We're talking 100185. Above there, 102760. Above there, 108364. Yeah, I hate talking about this crap, all right? I hate having these precise levels, and, it's a pain in the ass to fucking talk about it. Pardon my French, I'm frustrated. MSTR, it's also frustrating? I mean, not frustrating for me, but the fact that MSTR didn't freaking move today. Bitcoin's doing this. Guys, why is this thing not moving? Why are none of the Bitcoin stocks moving with Bitcoin? I don't know. But I'm telling you right now, I don't think they're worth trading. You have too many factors. You got to focus on one chart, and then you have to know that that chart's in the right spot, which this chart's definitely not in the right spot. It's looking like an absolute piece of dog crap. All right. And then on top of that, you need confirmation from this stupid chart. And this thing's a troll most of the time. Don't troll yourself trading the Bitcoin stocks until I see them turning around. We're not covering them here on this channel. We got no reason to. Now let's talk about 10 plus trade ideas here straight from your boy Henry. Number one, my favorite right now, favorite chart right here out there in the stock market, MCD, McDonald's, McDick's, ready to rip. Got above 302.39 today, and above there watching 305.63. You're right here on the daily 9. You found buyers off the daily 21 EMA. I'm really liking how this is looking, and I'm thinking this is probably going to be like this where you start an explosive move here over the coming trading sessions. We know this thing wants to rip up to all-time highs. If you could just hold on to today's gains, tongue freak and twister, hold on to today's gains or move higher up to 305 plus tomorrow. This weekly candlestick will be a very sexy hammer going into the following week. The following week would be followed with either coming down to put in another wick that dip gets bought up and you put another hammer candlestick, or we just start launching off of that. Over the next 1 to 2 weeks, McDonald's is going to all-time highs above 317.90. TP1, 305.63. TP2, 311.59. TP3, 317.90. I already broke down the math earlier. April calls, they move 100%, 100 to 120% every $10 move. All right. On the March calls, on a $5 move, you'll be moving 70 to 100%. They're going to be moving in the short term. Next one, ACHR. ACHR. You had me in the first half. You're making a comeback. I'm not sure how this weekly hammer candlestick. I keep seeing this stupid hammer candlestick. Stop talking about hammers. What you got obsession with hammers, buddy? What are you doing? All right. I don't know how this weekly candlestick is going to close out tomorrow. I got no idea. But if you do push up, if you close this near 11 bucks or higher, holy crap, this thing is actually going to look bullish into the coming week. Did not think that was going to happen, considering you fell all the way down here to almost 9 bucks from 12 bucks earlier in the week. You got the breakout today. You got the break and retest. You pull back into the short-term moving average over here on the daily time frame, and you found buyers. All right. I want to see confirmation tomorrow. I want to see you get above 1060. Above 1060 brings 1169, then 1248. Hood pulled back to the daily 21 EMA today. Started finding buyers. I think you're probably going to keep finding buyers. You got the hourly RSI in oversold territory. 1, 2, 3, 4. Last 4 times. Over the last 3 to 4 months, 3.5 months, 4 occurrences, you have gotten bought up every time the hourly RSI, regular trading hours, got into oversold territory. If you break under 52.65, I think I'm probably wrong. And this thing's going to have a bit more of selling to do. And then it's going to base out. And then we'll have another setup to play in 1 to 2 weeks from now. But if I'm not wrong and 52.65 does hold, then I think this is going to probably start pushing back up. First stop, and call it right here. 60 bucks. Above 60, 66.91 we come. Cost. I'm looking for buyers. I don't think you go much lower than here. Hourly RSI already hit oversold territory twice now. All right, you already hit twice. The 4-hour RSI extended trading hours, ETH, is almost oversold. Over here, when things looked like crap, when it got oversold, you started building this little base action right there. Right here, we pushed up to new all-time highs, and now we're pulling back. What did we just talk about at the beginning of the video? About the psychology behind how SPY pushed up to new highs and then pulled back. It is a buying opportunity. You had a chance to sell in 2 months of consolidation. You had a chance for this thing not to do this, and it did this. All right? This sell right here is just people taking profits. You got a little head and shoulders action going on right here. Neckline is right here around $1,050. All right? Probably going to start getting bought up around here. I'm not saying you get all the way down to 1,007 because I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think you're going to retest all-time highs or previous all-time highs there. I think you're probably going to get bought up over here tomorrow off the 21 EMA over here on the daily time frame. And from there, I'm looking for new highs. 1,078.23. That's your first target. Above there, 1,100. I think that is incoming. All right. Pretty ugly look over here with this weekly candle. Probably going to turn into something like that. Going to get bought. Next one, KO. All right, KO here on the monthly. Looking freaking crazy. This is the craziest candle you've had in a long time. I'm thinking you take out these highs over here. I'm thinking you start pushing up 73.53 and then you could push up 75. Check it out on the weekly time frame. You have this massive weekly hammer candlestick. You have a relatively flat week here. You didn't get much. We'll see if you get a bid over $71 tomorrow. If so, that'll be great. But if not, this thing could honestly just consolidate here for a little bit and then push up off of that base. It could do this for, consolidate for another week after that and then push up off of that into new highs. That's how I think this thing is setting up here. The daily time frame, you pull back and now you're pushing back up to the highs. That's not necessarily met with selling. Not usually. TEM, you have earnings Monday after the bell. All right, after the closing bell, I should say, not the opening bell, the closing bell. Big range breakout here. This was, I think, 6 months, if I remember. Yeah, 6 months of range here. You just broke out. It was a $40 range, $44 range. All right. Measured move of that brings you up here to 120. We are just now retesting the top of that range. You can see here on the weekly time frame. This thing is just doing that, and it reminds me of this guy over here. All right. I watched this thing just keep running without me. All right. I remember watching all the way down here and even trading it. And then I remember I took profits slightly on this move up, and then I watched it just keep running. And, you know, sometimes over the years, I've done math and be like, oh, if you just held the original position. But, you know, you never know these things. You never freaking know these things. But I've done too many of those calculations. Oh, my God. You'd have over $1 million. Oh, my God. Yeah, guys, it happens in the stock market pretty much all the time. If you're on the ball, like this channel, we cover hot stocks. We cover the things that we know are moving with the market. If you're like me and that's what you do, you're always going to have the ones that got away. And it sucks, but it's a tough pill to swallow, but it happens. All right? It happens. Important over time, just put in good practices. When I put in good practices, I do good things. I do good. I make money. Okay? When I get antsy, when I get greedy, when I turn to this greedy little pig, you get things like minus $55,000 days that come out of absolutely nowhere because, oh, you were a greedy freaking pig. All right? Have the good practices, good habits. Those are gonna equal big stuff down the line. Give it a few years. Sitting there reminiscing on the ones that got away, not a good thing. All right? Not a good thing. Not gonna lead to anything good. But ARM over there. This chart reminds me of ARM. So I do want to put it on your radar early on here. We have earnings right around the corner. Over here, we had the bullish divergence, and then Nancy Pelosi over here decided to announce she had a position. And it rallied ever since then up to new highs. It just straight grinded higher. I don't know if this thing is about to boost off of earnings here up to 100 and then 120. I think it's definitely possible here. You know, I think within a few weeks we could be up at 120 if these earnings give you a boost up to $100. I don't know how this is going to play out. No matter what the earnings do, though, I'm bullish on this chart. If you get a pullback over here, I think it's going to get bought right back up to highs. So that's why I'm putting it on your radar. One of two things happens here. Earnings gives you a boost up. Or tomorrow, you get the boost. You got to be a buyer today with me, and you're going to get the boost up here. And then you get to sell before earnings, and that's great. All right. You see that crazy freaking move somehow? All right. You're up near 100%. Take the profits. Take the money before earnings. All right. But, you know, one of two things. You move up off of earnings, or earnings pull you back here, and then you move up. Don't know. How the chart is set up, though, it's in a bullish manner. I assume you're going higher from here. LRCX. I like the weekly candlestick over here. I like that you're closing above 86.32. I know, Henry, why? It's Thursday. What are you talking about? You didn't close the week out yet. Guys, you're probably not going to get this big pullback here tomorrow. All right? If you do get a pullback and it closes underneath 86.32, that would suck. All right? But I don't think it's going to be the case. I think it's much more likely that you get the weekly close above there. You have your breakout over there. And then if you do pull back into this, you know it's a buying opportunity, so you could play for that next move up. I don't think that's going to be the case, though. I think it's much more likely that we'll see something like this. All right, I think $96 is incoming after this pullback is done. LLY. So bullish flow coming in today. I do think this thing is setting up for a move up to new highs. I think it's extremely likely. Weekly time frame. You can see this thing is just kind of consolidating here after the move up. It's probably just getting ready, just like this, for another few weeks of impulsive buying. I think that is probably going to be the case. It doesn't have to move straight up. You move up, you consolidate. Move up, you consolidate. Expect that to continue being the case. It could look something like this. All right. PEP. All right. This was actually a ticker request today. And, you know, I'm grateful for these because I don't get to see everything. But if you got, you know, over 100 people giving you a ticker request, you're probably going to see almost everything on the market before it happens, as it's happening, and after it happens. So I am very grateful for that. I want to let you guys know that. So if you're in my community there and you give me my, you know, the ticker request there, I know maybe you think that I'm helping you out. Well, in a way, all right, we're scratching each other's backs, and I appreciate that. 155.83, I think, can be tested here. Once that gets tested, and if you can get a weekly close above, that's when you have the double bottom breakout here, and you're probably going to start pushing up to 165-ish. I think that could be the case if this thing gets the weekly close above 155.83. Now, in the short term, break this trend line. Thing is probably going to test 155.83. I really like how that's looking. If it pulls back and retests 146.90, that's your buy-in for this move back up. All right. ASTS printed a hammer candlestick today off of the 9. You are again confirming, just like over here, that buyers are in charge here. Found sellers in the golden pocket. You're still in that golden pocket. Remember that. You're still in the golden pocket. Hang on one sec. Go. All right. You're still in the golden pocket, but you found sellers here once. You found buyers at the daily 9. Found sellers again in the golden pocket. And you're again finding buyers at the daily 9. Things are compressing here. They're getting tight. Eventually going to snap. Get above 33.55 again. I think you're probably going to start pushing 36.54 and then 39.08. All right. I really like how this thing is shaping up. You is the last one that I'm going to put on your radar here. Actually, before we go over that, BABA, I think it does continue getting bought up. We had, crazy bullish flow coming in all day here. I think this is going to be bought up. All right. It really doesn't look all too bad to me. It does not. All right. But aside from that, we're talking you. I actually put on your radar before this happened. I didn't. It was one of these days over here. I pointed this out. I don't know if this is going to just continue with these big days like this. I don't think it's going to have that, but I think you're probably going to get that slow grind like we've seen in the past following these big moves up. That slow grind. That big move up, slow grind. Big move up. You have 2 days of big days here. All right. But this right here was a 30% move. In one day, we just had 30% move. So yeah, you're probably going to take out 28.66. Probably going to continue grinding higher. All right. But if you get a pullback, that's the real opportunity. If you, base out here for a few days, for a week there, that's the opportunity. You see on this weekly chart here, right here, I remember playing this over here. All right. You get this big move here, and then you followed this big move here. All right. I remember I was in it over here. And then we got that, and then they actually went. But over here, you had the week after a week like this, and it was just consolidation above the previous high. So if we get that next week, that could be the week before another 10 to 15% move to the upside. And that can bring you way up here. Something to keep on your radar. All right, guys. With that being said, I hope y'all enjoyed today's video. I will catch y'all in the next one. If you would like to come trade with me, the link is down below to join the Discord. Peace.